It's a wonderful room, very festive. It's been a very packed day, but I think it has been a glorious day. We had a wonderful conference, and from Olga and I and the Capital Link staff, we cannot thank you enough for being with us and making this 24th annual Capital Link Invest in Greece Forum a great success. So, thank you. We'll go through a few important speeches, and then we'll have dinner. And then we'll proceed with the recognition of Panos Papazoglou. So if I can ask actually our official host, the Edward Mermelstein, he is the commissioner in charge of international relations of the City of New York. The City of New York is our host at the dinner, so Edward, if you can come and give us your opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Yianos. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Your Excellencies and honored guests. Welcome to New York, or as we like to call it, the capital of the world. On behalf of Mayor Eric Adams, our entire administration, I'd like to thank the organizers of this event. I'd like to thank Capital Link for hosting their 24th annual Invest in Greece Forum in the Big Apple, and for investing in the city of New York. I am honored to be surrounded by so many senior representatives from the Greek government, as well as the private and public sectors. I want to start by acknowledging the work of Capital Link in providing American companies with the information they need to promote economic growth and develop strong relationships with Greek companies. Now more than ever, it is critically important to promote trade, commerce, and foreign investment between the United States and economically booming countries like Greece. The vibrant Greek community in New York is also an integral part of our fabric. Many Greek Americans have contributed a solution to the most pressing problems facing our society. For example, the leadership of Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, enabled his company to push through a safe and effective COVID vaccine in record time, saving millions, if not billions, of lives. As you may have seen, Mayor Adams visited Athens recently, and one of the outcomes of this trip was the signing of a sister city agreement between New York and Athens. Two cities standing for democratic values, culture, and both are financial capitals of their countries. Mayor Adams also had a great engagement with the mayor of Athens. The message he shared about standing up against hate is critical for a better future for all. Mayor Adams has a great vision for New York, and he has put together a team of passionate people to get things done. We are ready and willing to collaborate with you. We welcome partnerships and investments in our great city. We welcome Greek businesses. We believe that Greek companies have the opportunity to be key players in this revitalized city of ours. Let's all act together to make the relationship between New York City and Greece stronger than ever before. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And by the way, I'd like to acknowledge with great thanks Mr. Kalafatis of York Studios for sponsoring tonight's dinner. As you know, and now we'll kindly ask our ambassador, Ms. Alexandra Papadopoulou, the ambassador of Greece to the United States, to give us her remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Professor. Καλησπέρα σας. It is indeed a distinct pleasure and honor to join you today on the occasion of the 24th Annual Capital Link Invest in Greece Forum, an event that has become an institution, strengthening the historic ties between Greece and the United States and enhancing the already close cooperation between the two countries. Taking into consideration that the whole day today was spent on economic figures defining present-day Greek economy and forecasting the future of Greek economy, please allow me to take this opportunity in order to share with you my insights on Greek-US relations. After all, we had present throughout the day three of the most distinguished Greek ministers who are much more knowledgeable about Greek economy and about a lot of other things. It is only fair to say at the start that Greece and the United States have a long-standing and strong relationship, dating back to the beginnings of both countries' history as modern states, some 200 years ago. In the last couple of years, this relationship has reached unprecedented levels of understanding and cooperation, which has culminated with the passing by the U.S. Congress of the East Med Act 2018 and of the U.S.-Greece Defense and Interparliamentary Partnership Act in 2021, the signing of the new MDCA in 2018, and culminating with the historic visit by the Greek Prime Minister Mitsotakis to Washington last May and his address to the joint session of Congress. The Greek-US Strategic Dialogue, launched in 2018 as a platform of enhanced cooperation in several areas of common interest, covers a variety of fields, energy and economy being a top priority. Geography is destiny, and Greece finds itself situated in the wider region where three continents meet, while itself belonging to one of them as a member state of the European Union. This gives my country a unique perspective and a significant role to play in achieving peace, stability, and prosperity in the region. As a nation of seafarers, Greeks have always been active in the Eastern Mediterranean, the maritime region that brings the three continents together. As a member state of the European Union, Greece's approach is unavoidably imbued with the Union's values and principles, its respect for international law, and its foreign policy priorities. At a time of renewed great power competition and destabilizing activity in the region by certain international actors, Greece aspires to be playing a stabilizing role, working together with other EU member states and allies and partners, chief amongst them the United States. For some time now, we have been developing and working on a vision for the future of the Eastern Mediterranean, together with key partners. One of our main focal points is our strong commitment to conformity with international law, including the international law of the sea and the principles of the UN Charter. In this context, I would enumerate our deepening and broadening bilateral relationship with the United States, including in the area of defense and security, our 3+1 cooperation with Cyprus, Israel, and the US, a trilateral format of cooperation with countries in the region, notably Egypt, Jordan, Israel, and the United Arab Emirates, but also Lebanon and Bahrain, as well as our defense partnership agreement with France, our increasingly important role in the Western Balkans in the framework of the joint EU-US efforts for the stabilization of the region, its integration into the Euro-Atlantic structures, and countering destabilizing influences by foreign malign actors. Strengthening and expanding cooperation with Greece, Israel, and Cyprus in the Eastern Mediterranean has proven to be a very effective way of pursuing the stability and development of the region, which also be in line with the US political and security commitment to the region, while countering the destabilizing influence of other international actors and promoting joint US and Greek objectives in key policy areas. In this context, security cooperation can be extended to include a more strategic engagement in fields like energy security, maritime security, and cyber security. It may involve the establishment of annual joint exercises in the region. Energy cooperation may be extended to include key areas such as renewables, climate change, regional technology competition, and health security, joint objectives of the Greek and the US governments. This cooperation can create opportunities for technology transfers, joint ventures and programs with a positive impact on the global technology competition, as well as for achieving the resilience of supply chains and speeding up decarbonization and energy transition in line with both administrations' priorities. Cooperation with the three genuinely democratic allies partners in the Eastern Mediterranean region should prove suitable for enhancing democratic governance and for countering misinformation and authoritarianism in the wider region. It would work as the core group to a potentially growing network of regional cooperation. In the context of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the seismic changes this has brought in so many ways to our world, this multifaceted Greek-US cooperation has come under sharper focus, having elevated the importance of Greece in both defense and energy sectors and rendered Alexandroupolis into a highly valuable asset in the efforts for both transferring assistance to Ukraine and helping diversify the energy supply routes of Eastern Europeans. So it's understandable that Greek-US relations are at the highest point in history. And a lot of people are asking me, where does this leave us? Where are we going from here? As the challenges mount, the challenges always become bigger, and there are bigger, wider areas of cooperation that both countries can explore together. So as the Americans say, the sky is the limit. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight and for your insightful remarks. And now I will kindly ask the CEO of the Athens Exchange, Mr. Yianos Kontopoulos, to join us and share his vision about the Athens Exchange. We're delighted and honored to have him with us. Our forum today was organized in cooperation with the Athens Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, and major global investment banks. We're delighted to have him with us. Yesterday he rang the closing bell along with other dignitaries.
I'm the substitute, so you may relax. Thank you, Nicholas, for the warm welcome. Thank you, dear ministers and excellencies, for being here tonight with us and for supporting this great event in New York. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is great for me to be back at this beautiful club in which I was a member a couple of decades ago. Probably my fondest memory here was my dancing the night away right at the turn of the century at the Harvard Club's New Year's Eve party. Thankfully tonight you won't get to witness my dancing skills. Instead, I'm keenly aware that I stand between you and your main course, so I will try to be moderate in the ancient Greek sense of the word, in my enthusiasm about the investment opportunities Greece presents today, and on why now the Athens Stock Exchange is indeed in a unique position to leverage these opportunities more than ever before. As a newcomer to the Greek Stock Exchange ecosystem 8 months ago, and also a recent immigrant returning to Greece, one of my first impressions has been how easy it is for the Greek market insiders, the analysts, the Greek journalists, the local stockbrokers, the local investment bankers, etc., especially when you put us together in a room like this, how quickly we become miserable about the prospects for Greece, and especially prospects for the Greek capital markets. I have indeed suggested to some of them to stop talking to each other. After today's event and my conversations here in New York, I figured that maybe the solution is to urge the Greeks to interact more with their Greek-American counterparts, because apparently distance and obviously fewer traumatic experiences over the past decade give a more accurate perspective on reality. Alternatively, another solution, near and dear to my professional upbringing, is to look at the data. So in the next few minutes, you will have to indulge me, and I would like to present a few facts that may not be very well known, which I think illustrate what I just said regarding the unique investment opportunity that the ATHEX Stock Exchange presents today. And after I do this, I will finish by briefly giving you an overview of the relevant parts of the strategy we put together and the key initiatives we are undertaking at the Athens Stock Exchange for the development of the Greek capital markets. The first fact, and I think very few people are aware of, is that the Athens Stock Exchange has displayed surprising resilience in times of crisis, as well as an ability to discriminate effectively even under the proverbial fog of war. That's what a good exchange does, by the way. Consider the period from May 2010, the Castellorizo affair at the beginning of Greece's financial crisis, up to recent months. In that period, almost 2/3 of the listed companies included in the large cap index have a positive performance and have increased their market capitalization, while 1/3 of them have at least doubled in value or much more. A very similar split is also true for the companies listed in the mid-cap index. Consider that this is a period that Greece lost 1/3 of its GDP. The second fact worth noting is that the Athens Stock Exchange not only has a very strong customer focus, but a very particular and resilient international reach. Companies listed on the Athens Stock Exchange have access to a broad group of regional and international brokers and investors. And as a result, over the past few years, systematically, 50 to 60% of trading activity is effectively conducted by foreign investors. And an equivalent majority percentage is reflected in the ownership of the listed companies by foreign investors alike. This is a very good and useful form of leverage when the large IPOs come back to Greece. The third fact, which I find particularly relevant about the future, relates to the perception of the size and depth of the Greek Stock Exchange. Arguably, trading volumes have struggled to increase consistently, and IPOs have been few and far between in the past few years. However, whenever good products come to the market, there is ample demand. Just this past year, as I repeated this morning, more than 8 billion euros of capital were raised in the Athens Stock Exchange, featuring both equity and corporate bond issuance. For a country with a GDP of roughly 200 billion euros, that's a very big amount. Our exchange is truly the international and European gateway for investment for any company with Greek DNA, which lists or is looking to list in the market. The fourth characteristic worth emphasizing is particularly important for this current global cycle and very differentiated from its peers in Europe, the broad developed market contingent, and even against large emerging markets. Due to a significant increase in deposits over the past few years, Greece maintains one of the lowest loan-to-deposit ratios among most developed or large countries. In other words, Greece is very under-leveraged at this point, which is a great advantage to have when interest rates shift significantly higher and when inflation has set in. And mind you, Greece has shown continuous increase in deposits over the past few quarters, which is telling you that Greek savings in the aggregate have remained largely unaffected by the recent shocks that have affected every other single economy in the world. Basically, you have a pool of assets that is ready and able to credibly absorb, as I said before, good products that come to the market. A very similar picture is reflected on the very low assets under management to deposits ratio, the lowest among its European peers. Fifth fact worth noting is that the Athens Stock Exchange market capitalization as a percentage of GDP at 27% is significantly lower than the European average of 75% and lags significantly its own pre-crisis historical average. This is a significant indication of investment pent-up demand and as a result, it's quite likely that natural economic forces will try to cover that gap, either because new entrants will take advantage of those special local market characteristics that I've mentioned before, and they will come to list, or that gap will be covered by convergence of the Athens Stock Exchange performance with the rest of the world. And indeed, there is evidence that this is happening already. My sixth and last fact for the day, as I'm running out of time, is that both in 2019 and this year, the Athens Stock Exchange is among the best performing stock exchanges in the world. And this is by no accident linked to the repeated multi-year record corporate earnings in 2021 and 2022. Together with Greece's notable economic performance and prospects ahead, there is an evident conclusion to be drawn from these facts. Now is the right time to invest time and energy in laying the foundation for the Greek capital markets growth and to take advantage of the opportunity laying ahead of us. So what do we, the Athens Stock Exchange, do with all this? The main target we have set for ourselves is to help change the negative narrative which ails our domestic capital markets and thus boost market activity and break the vicious circle between that mediocre liquidity and the listing of new firms in the market. Part of that effort entails the promotion of these aforementioned positive facts, among many others, and the unique characteristics I just mentioned, both domestically and abroad, so to increase ATHEX visibility in the international investment community, we're formulating and participating in selected initiatives. As an example, for the first time this year, we organized, in collaboration with Morgan Stanley, a two-day investor roadshow in London with the participation of the largest listed and also for the first time selected non-listed companies and a large group of the top international investment funds. In the same vein, we, along with New York Stock Exchange, cooperated this year with Capital Link for today's 24th annual Capital Link Invest in Greece Forum, the event we're still attending today, which gives us a valuable opportunity to present the positive prospects of the Greek capital market to the Greek American community and beyond. Another way to support our main target is to facilitate the increase in the number of IPOs for both primary and joint listings. For the latter, and with the help of the Hellenic Capital Markets Commission, even in this stream, we are meeting with the relevant ecosystem here in the US to iron out the details for a smooth dual listing effort. We are also identifying and resolving all potential pain points in our market which may constrain our derivatives market and stock lending functionality. Both issues are market liquidity enhancing mechanisms. And of course, we take these efforts a step beyond to instigate the return of our market to developed market status. In parallel, there is no doubt that any future active participation of the Athens Stock Exchange in the Greek privatization program will attract additional investor attention both in the domestic market and abroad, acting as a catalyst in enhancing market liquidity. TAIPED, the Asset Development Fund, and the Greek government are obviously critical in this process. Yet another means to an end is the revamping of the alternative market of the Athens Stock Exchange, directed towards financing the growth of dynamic, small and medium-sized companies, which form the backbone of the Greek economy. The alternative market is our medium and long-term investment, or path, if you may, of solidifying liquidity to the main market. There are notable examples of companies that just a few years after the introduction of the alternative market, they managed to multiply their capitalization and move to the main market, where they in turn boosted the ratings even more. It goes without saying, of course, that in order for our strategy to be successful, we need the contribution of all involved parties, including the local market ecosystem, as well as the Greek government ministries, the Greek Capital Markets Commission, and even European bodies such as DG.COM and EBRD. Our strategy is fully aligned with the national strategy for the development of the Greek capital market. We are working in close collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Development and Investments to shape an attractive institutional backdrop that will foster new interest for listings in the Athens Stock Exchange. I will leave you with one last thought. Among all of these initiatives, there is a unifying theme: common action for a common cause, and thus strength in unison. Is his and the Yianos. So please join me in raising your glass to the united Greeks. To the Greeks.
Panos, thank you very much. Dear friends, we're going to proceed with dinner, but let me say one thing. During the day, we heard that the Greek economy is on the right track. Lots of business and investment opportunities. We're delighted to know how I can also the Athens Stock Exchange on the right track, and that the business is not as the Kontopoulos share. And in closing, let me raise my glass. Now we're coming to what also the end of our day. So we have a glass of wine. I'd like to raise my glass to all of us and say thank you very much for being with us tonight. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Thank you for an amazing day. And look forward to next year to 2023. So thank you. We are really honored to have the opportunity to pay our respects to somebody who really contributed a lot to Greece and a lot to raising the profile of Greece among the international investment community. And I would kindly ask Mr. Papagaryfallou, the CFO of Alpha Bank, to come to the podium and introduce Panos. As far as I'm concerned, Panos for me need no introduction, but still we need to go for an introduction because a lot of you may not know what the wonderful details about Panos. Lazaros, thank you for being with us.
Can we please have your attention? Can we please have your attention?
Dear Ministers, Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Greece to the United States of America, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, there is an old saying that goes, you can tell a man by the distance traveled. And this is exactly the reason why we're here today, to reflect upon and celebrate the journey of Panos Papazoglou throughout an admittedly illustrious career spanning over 3 decades. The award that I'm going to present Panos with very shortly is aptly named the Hellenic Leadership Award. And I think its title perfectly encapsulates what he brought to the table day in and day out: leadership. A fact that is not only attested by how he steered his company, Ernst & Young, to an admirable market-leading position despite the decade-long crisis in Greece, but also by the way he worked to create a positive dynamic for the economy and our country, both abroad and at home. I think it is safe to say that for more than 10 years now, Panos has been nothing short than a true ambassador of our country internationally, working diligently to help bring foreign direct investments to Greece, bridging the gap that existed with the international investor community the past decade. Under his leadership, Ernst & Young has been publishing since 2019 the Attractiveness Survey Greece, capturing the pulse of international investors and what they think of our country as an investment destination, comprehensively mapping the FDI environment in Greece. Despite the economic hurdles of years past, his strong conviction that our country can become one of the most attractive investment destinations never faltered. And he always voiced his opinion that for that to happen, brave reforms are needed to free ourselves from burdens that kept us down, such as the slow speed and inefficiency of the judiciary system and the complex bureaucracy apparatus. A real high flyer that was never risk-averse, Panos quickly rose through the ranks. And even before leading Ernst & Young in Greece, he had already built a stellar track record abroad, helping his organization grow in the Balkans, serving as a country managing partner and head of assurance of Ernst & Young in Bulgaria for 3 years, and as head of assurance in Romania for 2 years. When Panos was called to take the mantle of EY's country managing partner back in 2010, the economic crisis had only started to show its implications. But his experience had shown him that behind every challenge there are opportunities to be had for those not faint of heart. With a 360-degree understanding of the intricate relationship between economy, technology, and innovation, he invested in growing the Greek EY practice at a time when a number of international businesses were contemplating withdrawal from the country. Through persistence and a true vision of the future, he gathered around him young talent, gave them room to develop, and grew Ernst & Young from fourth among its peers into a true market leader in just a matter of years. And this special emphasis he put on knowledge and developing talent was something that made Panos stand out. He always spoke very highly of Greek talent and is a strong proponent of lifelong learning and the reskilling, upskilling of the Greek human capital. Being a man of action himself, he was true to his vision, with Ernst & Young contributing to the brain gain of the Greek economy, repatriating many talented Greeks from abroad, as during his tenure, the company grew from just over 500 people to an organization of over 2,000 professionals. It is no coincidence that EY's global leadership team also entrusted him with the role of the Central and Southeastern Europe South Cluster leader, and later on with that of the accounts leader for the Central, Eastern and Southeastern Europe and Central Asia region. Of course, a leader always stands by his convictions. Panos was never shy to take the floor and publicly make his voice heard on how the economy needed a new growth model that would enable sustainable growth. He argued of a paradigm shift to export-led growth, investment in innovation and human capital, and closer interaction and cooperation between entrepreneurship and the educational system. He had the statesmanship to mediate between the government and the various productive forces of the economy, efficiently finding convergence points to push for the implementation of such impactful measures and reforms that could help support Greek entrepreneurship and the sectors of the economy. And he was never afraid to be critical, but very just in his assessment of mistakes of days past, always talking about how Greek businesses and the state should work together to right their wrongs, reinvent themselves, digitalize and transform, live up to the rising environmental and societal expectations of customers and citizens, and take the leap forward. His passion to promote Greek entrepreneurship also manifested through the EY Entrepreneur of the Year program, aiming to recognize and pay tribute to entrepreneurs who were building the new narrative through their work and accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of us fortunate enough to have met and collaborated with Panos, we have come to know him as a passionate individual who can bring the best out of those around him inspire and mobilize them to create value and shine. I believe that I can talk from a personal standpoint, since he had always been close with the banking system and staunchly supported our sector's transformation journey through the crisis, albeit often critical of our initial ideas and scenarios, something that I must admit brought great value in helping us develop more resilient and forward-looking plans. Throughout his long, successful career, he embodied traits as empathy, persistence, and excellence, and his leadership is something to admire, celebrate, and draw upon. And although the end of his tenure as EY's country managing partner is now drawing closer, this is but a farewell. I'm confident that a man with such a restless spirit as Panos will continue to share with us in other capacities the wealth of knowledge and experience he has acquired, always staying true to who he truly is, a man of action. So without any further delay, I would like to call Panos Papazoglou on stage and congratulate him for his accomplishments. Thank you.
Lazaros, thank you very much. It was a real honor. Thank you very much. I know that it's customary on such occasions to declare that one accepts an award on behalf of the organization he or she represents and its people. But I feel that in this case, it is particularly appropriate. It has been my privilege, my blessing, to lead EY Greece over the last 12 years, admittedly, not an easy period for Greece, not an easy period for Greek companies. During this time, EY has grown to become the largest professional services provider in Greece, employing nearly 2,200 people today, from just over 500 in 2011. More importantly, it is recognized by the Greek market as the leading brand and a thought leader in a wide range of issues that collectively form the agenda for Greek entrepreneurship and the sustainable growth of the Greek economy. I may have played a small role in this, but in all honesty, it could not have been possible without our people, their professionalism, their exceptional skills, their hard work, the energy and enthusiasm. Bringing together a team like that is the greatest challenge and the most lasting accomplishment one can think of. And thank very much all of them. It would also not have been possible if I've not have been guided by EY's values and its purpose, to build a better working world. Because at the end of the day, we are judged by the positive impact our work has for our people, our clients, and our communities. So, thank you very much again, Lazaros. I want to thank also my family, my wife and my son, for being passionate with me, for being absent for many hours, days, weeks, and months away from home. And I also want to thank Nicholas and Olga for your hard work over all these years in promoting the image of Greece in the US and the close ties between the two countries. I've been participating in the Capital Link Forum almost uninterruptedly for the last probably 10, 11 years, and I can tell you, I will miss these gatherings in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me tell you, as far as I'm concerned, part of greatness is humility. And here we have with us somebody who has contributed immensely, being completely focused on delivering, being completely focused on Greece. So we are humbled and privileged to be able to have him with us and for us to be able to call him a friend. And by the way, Panos, I'm very sorry to tell you, you are going to attend every...
For all the years to come.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And by the way, this can close our dinner and this can close our forum. And tremendous thanks to all of you.
We thank you all very much, year after year, for being together with us. We look forward to seeing you next year, which will be the 25th year of the Capital Link Forum. Thank you.